Yes, sir. We back in stride again. Welcome back to the show. And that show is the Backport Sports Podcast with your man Fun.
And Quan.
Yeah, man. You on camera, boy. You came with that Frank. I'm saying, yeah, man. I'm like, oh, yeah. Like I told you, boy, you can't be doing Frankie like that now.
Yeah, I can't be turning them off like that. I'm trying to tell you.
Boy, I tell you, mess around, throw your knee and your back out, boy. Big shout out to Frankie Beverly, man. That's the GOAT, man.
Yeah,
that's the GOAT. Every
real.
cookout got to have Frankie Beverly song.
It better.
playing in the mix.
If it don't, it ain't a cookout.
It's not. I don't care how many pigs you got on the grill, how many chicken legs you got out there. If you ain't got no Frankie Beverly playing that cookout, I'm leaving. But let me go ahead and jump into the thing. So what we did in our group, the Backport Sports Podcast War Room, that's on Facebook. So if you're not in there, go ahead and get in there. We posed some. We gonna let them decide our topic for this week. So once again, the doggone day one since we've been doing this thing here in this podcast world, our guy James Collins, man, he came up with some good questions. I ain't gonna front. So his first question, we're going back to the NFL draft. Okay, so he wants to know what we think about which steals are in the rounds 1 through 5, and who was the steal overall in this draft. So I'm gonna let you take that there. Go and get back in stride.
All right, so for round 1, I got Dallas Turner, who I was big on for the mock draft that we did. Vikings picked him up at number 17. Great edge guy, a lot of upside, a lot of skill. So he dropped all the way down to 17. That was very shocking. Not too late, but I would think that somebody would pick him up a little earlier, but nevertheless, he picked up number 17. Feel like that was definitely a steal for the Minnesota Vikings to add some young talent at that position. Round number 2, I got Cooper DeJean, Eagles cornerback. Very versatile, very versatile player, and can use him in the slot. They can use him at strong safety. They can lose him in a lot of areas. I mean, very great, young, versatile cornerback that the Eagles got to add to that scary front seven that they once had or still do have. Number 3, I got Roman Wilson, the Pittsburgh Steelers' newly wide receiver. A lot of people had him gone in round 2, but this is an extremely safe pick for the Steelers. Catches the ball well. No, you don't see too many broken tackles, and he's not really a physical type guy, but he does make some clutch catches. And he's just as open as any other wide receiver in this draft class, so he should be extremely productive for us. Number 4, I got Cedric Gray, Tennessee Titans linebacker. What stands out about this guy is his ability to cover. His ability to cover. That's big in the NFL. As a linebacker, you got to know how to cover. Some of the best linebackers knew how to cover well in the league, and also his run support. He led all power 5 defenders and tackles. Really not a big thing as far as tackles, not a big time statistic, but it helps when you're trying to stop the run. And he can also rush the quarterback. So, and some say he's the top 2 linebacker in this draft. So yeah. And then last but not least, I have Jordan Travis, who was picked up by the Jets, who just drafted or traded away Zach Wilson. I feel like this is a great pickup for them, especially for him to be able to sit behind that bad man like Stephen A. would say, Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know how much more bad he got left. My bad.
But I think it's a big time steal. You know, he was a gamer. He won the 2023 Player of the Year, and he also broke his school record with 97 pass/rush touchdowns, which was his school record. Honestly, for the overall steal of the draft, I would have to say it would have to be that linebacker that my team drafted out of North Carolina. Last name Wilson. I cannot think of that's his first name.
Peyton Wilson.
Peyton Wilson.
Yeah.
I got him for the overall draft steal. Great guy. Great linebacker. A lot of people say his injuries is what kept him back, or whatever. We shall see. But I just think that was a major steal for us. And of course, I think it was one of the steals of the draft. So I'll let you take.
Yeah, that was a pretty good list, especially, you know, we kind of got the same person for the second round pick. So I'm gonna go ahead and go here. Well, so for my sleeper or my steal, gotta be wide receiver Xavier Worthy, and he was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round. That is just the case of the rich getting richer at this point. And he was one of the top 5-ish. No, I'm gonna say 5. One of the top 3 receivers to come out. And 2 of them came from Texas. That's Xavier Worthy. I forget the other guy's name. And of course, Marvin Harrison Jr. But I think that's a steal from round 1. It was unanimous with the both of us for round 2. It was Cooper DeJean. To me, he was my favorite pick, to be honest with you, because you don't see a lot of non-black corners. The last one I remember was Jason Sehorn. So, and the Eagles, I mean, he was one of the top corners in the draft. So I respect the Eagles for that pick. Round 3, your guy, Peyton Wilson. You got him as a steal of the draft. I got him as a steal of the 3rd round. I mean, honestly, like I said last week on the show, that's a Steelers pick. He just looks like the prototypical Steeler, in my opinion. Round number 4, I'm gonna say TJ Tampa was picked by the Baltimore Ravens at pick number 131. Don't know why he slid to the 4th round, but when he was picked, he was touted by the scouts as one of the top corners in that draft. So I can respect Baltimore for not only addressing the need, but getting, y'all know how we do with underrated talent anyway. And my last one for the steal in the 5th round, I'm gonna say Jeremiah Trotter Jr., also by the Eagles. The Eagles actually, when I did this research for this, the Eagles actually went shopping on defense. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, they did. They needed it.
Right, especially in the secondary. That secondary was bombs over Baghdad out there.
Yeah.
And with Jeremiah Trotter Jr., he's a linebacker. And if y'all recognize that name, his father played for the Eagles back in the early 2000s. So I see him, and I read his reports and stuff. He's a hard tackler. He does what he got to do. He ain't scared to get dirty. So I picked that one as an underrated pick. However, the steal for me in the entire draft is wide receiver Brendan Rice. He was picked by the Chargers in round 7, pick 225. The reason why I called his name, because you didn't really hear about Brendan Rice, but the Chargers was celebrated for making that pick, especially, and we all seen 6th and 7th rounders, and even the Mr. Irrelevant, actually do some damage in the NFL.
You're right.
So that's one name I'm going to watch out for, especially with that new regime down there in Los Angeles, the Chargers, by the way, with Jim Harbaugh. We already know what he can do. He made Michael Crabtree look nice, even though when he paired up with Richard Sherman, that didn't look too good. So that's my answer to that question.
Right.
So the next question that James put out, he 3. Y'all got to get in there. See, y'all, everybody that's in the war room, y'all could have been on this show. But anyway, we ain't gonna talk about that.
Right.
But we might do an episode like this again. But the question he put, this was funny to me. He asked, do we think LeBron is done? I'm gonna go ahead and take that one because I know you got a lot to say, but I'm gonna be nice. So he turned 39 in December. Keep that number in mind, 39. He's gonna be a free agent, unrestricted free agent at the end of next season. So here is my thing. I don't think he's done. I think that he's gonna play next year. Maybe on a 1 year, about $30 million deal. You know, y'all know how basketball be throwing out the money. I think he wants to have that opportunity to play with his son. Then he retire.
Desperately.
But here is the warning I'm gonna give to all you LeBron sexuals out there. The way y'all come at Michael Jeffrey Jordan with his years with the Washington Wizards, this could be. I'm not saying it's gonna be, so don't y'all come at me all sideways. This could be y'all Jordan with the Wizards moment. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And the reason why I say that is because there's two things that are undefeated. You have injury and father time. In any sport, that's undefeated. I know I've kind of glossed over, but I did kind of analyze a little bit some of the injury things and the reasons why he missed time. And a lot of those injuries dealt with his lower extremities. We're talking about ankles, knees, groin, all that type of stuff. And when it comes down to basketball, you need your ankles.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You need your knees.
Yeah, need all that.
I got to give credit. Yeah. You don't want your knees to be worn. Your ankle be worn when you out there playing basketball.
Oh my goodness!
But I mean, his age and the longevity of his career, honestly, and I mean this sincerely, honestly. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I mean this sincerely. He done enough for 2 Hall of Fame careers. I think right now it's more like, okay, what's the biggest ticket? Playing with my son.
You're right. That's what matters. I mean, that's what matters to him.
That I mean, honestly, that's every father's dream, regardless of what sport you in. At some point, you and the child that you raised, the child that you taught, the child that you took care of, and all that other kind of stuff. That if you're an athletic person, you might play alongside him about a year. So yeah, that's my answer on it. I mean, Godspeed to him. I hope he stays healthy. I don't want father time and injury to shorten what could be a glorious sunset to his career. You can have.
You're right. Well, I definitely, just to answer the question, I definitely don't think he's done. Done is, I don't think is in LeBron's vocabulary right now. I definitely see him at least playing for 2 years max, at least, maybe 3 if things go well. If, like Fawn said, if there's no injury or anything like that, I think he can, honestly. LeBron is sort of in a position where Tom Brady was in the NFL. I mean, he's pretty much the Tom Brady of the NBA currently. And that's not talking about accomplishment. That's talking about the longevity. Tom Brady played until he was 44, 45. So
in a much more physical sport.
In a much more physical sport. And I'm not saying that LeBron's going to play till he's 45, but in all honesty, I feel like he can play as long as he would like to play. The guy is still, I mean, for him to be 39 and still ranked top 10 best player in the NFL statistically, it's crazy to me. So I don't feel like he's done. And with the son thing, I really think he's looking forward to playing with him and stuff like that. And I definitely don't want him to leave. I mean, he's the reason why I watch basketball. He's my favorite player. I don't have a favorite team in basketball. I have a favorite player, and that is LeBron James. So I definitely don't want to see him go anytime soon. But no, I definitely don't think he's done. There's been a lot of talks. I've seen things about him re-signing with the Lakers. The Lakers are willing to sign him to whatever type of contract he wants and also draft his son. which is also pulling interest. And I also seen some other talks about him joining some other teams as well. Maybe him returning back to the East. So we shall see what happens for the next few years and throughout this offseason. But as of right now, I mean, I know that he kind of hushed the noise about his return, whether he's going to return or not. You know, he said he was going to take this time, like they always say, and spend time with his family and consult. Mm-hmm. But no, that man ain't he. I don't think he done. I think he at least got at least 2 more years, at least. Yeah. So between the ages of 41, 42 years old, I feel like he'll retire. But he's eager to play with his son. Right. And you know, there's been a lot of talks about his son too, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Right. But nevertheless, I don't think he's done quite yet. Nope.
No. I mean, he's too much of a competitor at this point. He's competing not only with current teams, but you know, other stuff. But like, I stand on that one. I mean, I might not be a fan of him, but I can respect the hustle. So, all right. So let's switch gears. Well, we not really switch gears. Still talking about basketball. So the next one was a prediction for the finals. James is saying Knicks, Timberwolves in the finals. So let me pontificate a little bit, if you will. I ain't gonna be long. So what makes sense to me is Celtics Nuggets. That's what makes sense to me.
You mean?
But judging by the conference finals or conference semifinals, excuse me, that probably will not be the case.
Okay.
So right now the Celtics are 3-1 over Cleveland. You know, and to you, Cleveland, you know, cheer up. The Browns win the playoffs. Y'all can hold a parade for that. It's all good. But you got the Boston Celtics. They up 3-1. Then you're looking at the Pacers, who they have not scored less than 100 points in the Eastern Conference semifinals. In 4 games, they have not scored less than 100 points. So that's telling me something different. And their series with the Knicks is tied 2-2. And with Game 5 tonight, as well as Boston, I believe, is playing tonight. So either tonight or Thursday, one of them.
It's Wednesday
tomorrow. That's yeah. So looking at all that, it could either be Pacers, Celtics, Knicks, Celtics, which I would gladly watch that because that's a rivalry going back almost 60 years. And right now, as far as the Eastern Conference winner, if you bet $10, you're only gonna win $11.54. So they had negative 650 odds to win the Eastern Conference. Those Boston Celtics. New York Knicks is plus 900. The Pacers are plus 950. But the longest shot of them all at plus 35,000 is Cleveland. So you know, do I see
interesting?
Right. So who I see coming out the East right now, my heart of hearts, based on my limited knowledge, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I've only looked at the box scores when it came down to this. Based on my limited knowledge and based on what I've researched, I really see the Celtics coming out the East.
The East.
So let's talk about how the West gonna be won. So with Denver and Minnesota right now, this is what got me. The reigning defending champs, went down 2 games. It was 0-2, and they essentially came back to tie it up at 2-2. So, in my opinion, that can go either way. To be honest with you, it could go either way. But I'm not. Right now, the Nuggets are plus 145 to win the West, but the Minnesota Timberwolves are plus 310 to win the West. So the odds, honestly, if you look at it in its totality, you know, even though the odds are a little bit bigger, it's still right around the same payout, if that makes sense. And nowadays in sports, I try to pay attention to those odds. Who do I have winning that series? It depends. Does Denver do what they did in the first 2 games of that series? If that come back to bite them, Minnesota gonna get it in 6. that means Minnesota gonna have to win the next 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have to win the next 2 games. I mean, sure, tall order against the reigning defending champions, but we'll leave it right there. So the Thunder took the game 4 in their series against the Mavericks, and they tied it up at 2-2. I'm gonna put it to you like this. I think the Thunder take that series.
Mm.
I think the Thunder will take that series. Going back to the Denver, Minnesota. That out of all of them matchups, that's, to me, that's the most difficult to call and predict. But I'm a ride with Denver.
Mm.
I'm a ride with Denver simply because my finals prediction will be the Celtics and the Nuggets. You may take it.
Well, see, I watched the NBA finals. I mean, playoffs. I've been keeping up with it for the majority of the time. I have time to sleep, but nevertheless,
10 o'clock games.
But all right, so starting with the Eastern Conference, you got the Pacers and you got the Knicks. All right, now the Knicks, I ain't gonna lie, they've been balling. They didn't put New York back on the map.
I mean,
and you know what I'm saying? So they've been balling. The series is tied 2-2. And honestly, I don't see the Pacers winning this series.
mm-hmm.
So I definitely got the Knicks coming out probably in a game 7. Because honestly, from what I have seen, the Knicks struggle when Tyrese is having a great game and he's starting to score or whatever. Tyrese Halliburton kind of started off a little rocky, but you know, when he starts facilitating that floor and they start scoring, the Knicks have, you know, I've seen them struggle, hence the why it's tied 2-2 right now. But in the end all be all, I feel like the Knicks will come out on and beat the Pacers, and the Pacers will go home. And then the Boston Celtics, they're going to take care of business against the Cavs. I'm sorry. This next game, I believe, is in Boston. Boston is up 3-1. Yeah. So they're going to go ahead and finish. I feel like they're going to go ahead and finish them. So I got the Knicks and the Cavs in the next Eastern Finals, or Conference Finals for the East. And then going to the Western Conference where things start getting tough. The Timberwolves and the Nuggets. So I don't know. This is honestly the best series that's going on. I'm not gonna say the best series, but one of the best series that's going on right now. All right, you got Ant. This guy is being compared to MJ as far as play style, and he's a baller. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But also the Nuggets are ballers as well. Jamal Murray and Yoke. And it's crazy because the start of the series, it looks like the Timberwolves was going to sweep the Nuggets. They went to Denver. They beat them twice in Denver. And then the Nuggets came to Minnesota and beat them twice. Now the series going back to Denver. And honestly, I feel like the Wolves. This series is definitely probably going to a game 7. For the simple fact, Ant played outstanding in Denver. Man dropped over 40 points in Denver. So obviously he's an away player. He still dropped 20. I think he dropped 27 one night at home and maybe another 40-point game at home as well. So I can't really say he's a away player, but he balled out in Denver. Nothing really changes, but the series here is tied 2-2, and everybody knows that. I definitely don't think Denver is going to win twice. They probably win. It'll probably be 1-1, and then I'm thinking the Timberwolves will close at home on Game 7. But I'm gonna just be honest. It's hard beating the Nuggets. I mean, they have great closers in the Jamal Murray. He's a game closer when he wants to be. The X factor for the Nuggets to win this game is they need productivity from old Michael Porter. when Michael Porter is having a good game, they typically win.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. I really can't even really truly call that series. I know it's going to a game 7. The series is definitely not going to be in a game 6. It's definitely going to a game 7.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I like both teams to win in game 7. But if I had to pick one, I'm just gonna say the Wolves in game 7. They'll win. Not confident in that, y'all. So don't hang your hat on it. But
right, please.
I'm gonna say the Wolves in game 7. And then who else we got? We got the Mavs and the Thunder. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and say the Mavs are gonna go ahead and win that series. I love SGA. He's one of the best point guards, if not the best point guard in the NBA right now. I understand what that team brings. You know, a lot of young guys that can ball, but they need an answer for Luka. And Luka can have a good game any day, anytime.
Yeah, that is true.
And I don't feel like they have an answer for Luka. They cannot, Luka got to play better. You know what I'm saying? I think Shannon Sharp giving Luka a hard time, blaming the last loss on him. But you know, with dominant players like Jokic and Luka, you just don't never know when that good game is going to happen. So I think the Mavs will win, and that'll probably be another game 7 series. Just because both teams are really, 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 really good. I really like OKC, but I just don't think they're equipped to contain Kyrie and Luka. Of course, the role players play a big part, especially in NBA playoffs. Yeah. Role players really play a big part in this. And in all honesty, the Thunder should win this series, honestly, because they have the necessary role players to outplay the Mavericks off the bench. But yeah, I'm gonna say the Mavs. So in the finals, I'm gonna say I got the Wolves and the Celtics.
I mean, because either way, you cannot go wrong. Honestly,
either way, you can't go wrong. I got the Wolves and the Celtics.
That's good,
and I think that'll be a good. I think that'll be a good NBA Finals.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, like I said, either one of them would be a pretty decent matchup. Right. So hopefully we answered your questions to the best of our ability. Look, we just take what I say with a grain of salt because I'm not a basketball guy, but I think this is a good place to call it. We may, like I said at the top, we may do another episode like this in the near future. So with that being said, if you want to get in and have your questions answered on this show, go ahead on Facebook and join the Back Porch Sports Podcast War Room. One of us is going to let you in there. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter who you rep. It could be basketball, hockey, softball, or even lingerie football. If you were in that type of zone, I'm just saying, you ain't seen it on YouTube. But anyway,
no, I ain't seen that, buddy.
It's up there now. How you get that away for free? But anyway, just hit us up in there. We'll let you in there. We're always chopped up. You never know when we do shows like this. So if you get in the war room, y'all will be the first ones to know. And also, if you feel like our content is beneficial, you think we're doing a good job, you think if you like the show, how about hit the like button and then subscribe to the channel so it'll push us up there so more eyes can see what we're doing. So, and also, before I go out of here, thank you to all the day ones, everybody that support this channel has been supported from the beginning. We appreciate you guys. And that's all I got. So you got anything you want to add, my brother?
Not at all, man.
All right, we're going to go ahead and go and clock out. So this has been the Back Porch Sports Podcast with your man Fonz
and Quan,
and we out.